Grand Rising, Big Cat. Welcome or welcome back to Frequency Phoenix 555 for your message or massages. Come in, come on. I've got intel. Recon is afoot. Energies, up, Big Cat. I insist. May your comings and goings be covered by the grace of Father God, Mother Isis, as your ancestors guide you to the light. Just giving it a hot minute for the notification to go out, darling dears. Let the big cats know we are assembling for a tete-a-tete. Did you miss me? I've been busy minding my own business and getting ready for my fasting, which commenced tomorrow. As I told you, I'll be fasting for this new moon solar eclipse in Aries. Something that's not going to happen on this Malku for another 375 years, darling dears. This exact alignment. The same alignment where they're firing up CERN, yes, to look for dark matter. The same alignment that they're firing 3 rockets called the serpent rockets into the eclipse. The same eclipse that they're getting the National Guard, calling back the ones that have retired, and they say nothing's going on. So I'm just making sure that nothing's going on at my house. Yes, bestie. As I was saying, irreplaceable you. I know, darling dears. I feel like tickling you under your chin myself. Ha ha! They'll never find another friend, partner, family member like you, bestie. One of the best opportunities you are given in this life, darling dears, was to be underestimated. It gave you the room to do what? Law number 25. Recreate thyself. You became assertive with your life. Law number 29. Plan all the way to the end. The Wendy Williams, don't you know? Pinkies up. You maintained your self-respect. It helped you feel more positive about yourself and your abilities. Why? You removed yourself from that toxic web that tried to keep you as a thumber, made you take it without the Vaseline regularly. A bit like Cassie. What's his name? P. Diddy's ex. Yeah. You learned how to calm yourself down. How? You activated law number 21. You learned to play a soccer to catch a soccer. You proved them all wrong. And we know that a hit dog will always holler, darling dears, and they've been hollering. They've been talking many things out of that gingivitis mouth, darling dears. Because when they can't get you, they will try and what? Muddy your name. But they're speaking to what simpletons? In the village of the blind. You know how valuable you truly are, darling dears. Proverbs 31:10, I've told you this many times. You are unique. Once you leave this Malkuth, there will never be another like you. Yes, they may carry your DNA if you have the progenies. But you, your essence, everything that makes you up, darling dears, is unique to you alone. You know what most of them are speaking about? How you changed. Some of them have the bloody cheek to say that you're what? Bougie, darling dears. Bougie? Not bougie enough, blood. Not bougie enough. Especially if you still come to mind. Hey, when I finish with somebody, darling dears, I scrub down to the memories. I don't want a picture, because you know your phone, right? I got this iPhone, right? And every so often it'll do a round of the pictures that came up a few years ago. Me no one see none of them blood clots or blood clotteries. Point A or point B, guys. I scrub everything. I don't care who you are. Once I cut that tie, you will feel it. They felt it, darling dears. Trust and believe. You showed them through your actions, never your words. They want you to come back and fight for whom you are and explain. Explain to who? You've got nothing to explain. Your back, your shapely back, law 16 was enough explanation. You didn't even come back. If you left with one slipper, you was a one slipper cat, blood. You did what you had to do. One of the best ways to continue to counteract these critiques, the critiques that can't be you, can't get you again. They couldn't even call you in another life, darling dears. And if they dare come and dig up your body, they won't be able to revive you, darling dears. That's how much they want to be around you. When people underestimate you, darling dears, they treat you like you are not important. But yet they want your energy. They want to emotionally dump on you, darling dears. Go for your Skrillers.com, your wallet, your finances. They call everything you got going on in your life little. Little job, little business. And when they speak of your progeny, your progeny could be adults, darling dears. How are your little children? What a bomber ass. Listen, you're going to learn Jamaican. I told you, when you come here, you are Jamaican. Fall into your mastery, darling dears. Your birth natal chart is your key to everything. Your snapshot of the Akashic records. Find your north node. Your south node will show you what you have put up with or no longer put up with. Because you see, when you free yourself from your south node energy, darling dears, your lineage, you free your ancestral team, 64 of them that you have at your back, darling dears. You free them from whatever karma they created on this Malkuth, this place, this prison planet we were sent to, darling dears, to learn lessons. But you, darling dear, you, big cat bestie, oi, you chose to come back as a volunteer. To free your family member, that partner, that friend from the hamster wheel of karma that they've created for themselves. What did they do? They underestimated you. Let's dive in, darling dears, and unpack as we sip our mockers, because we ain't getting smoke blood, brah, or cistrine. Right, we'll get the dice. They got a flipping cheek, darling dears, and they've got the cheek to still be having your name in their mouth, trying to dig up old bones. But it doesn't matter how angry they get, they refuse to stamp their foot like Rumpelstiltskin and never be seen again. No, they want to attack your what? Your prefrontal cortex, your hippocampus, and your amygdala. Listen, blood. I told you, your prefrontal cortex. It's about your rational thinking, darling dears. It regulates your emotions. This is where the PTSD is formed. The hippocampus is responsible for your memory, right? So you can differentiate between the past and the present. This is why some people get hung up on relationships, because when they bring the memories up, the memories come back, they pour energy into it by crying or getting mad. Listen, if you're crying right now, put me on pause. Go to the mirror. Look deep into your eye chakras, darling dears. And then slap the shit out of yourself until blood and spittle flies. What do you mean? Rub them tears in. Rub them bitch hearts in. Why? They're the best skin tightener this side of the universe, darling dears. Then wash your face like David. Why do I say like David? Because David's son was dying, darling dears. David pled with God. He begged God. He promised God everything to save his son. Yet his son was only here for a time, darling dears. And on the day his son passed, he got up off the floor, washed his face and combed his hair, and never shed another tear. People asked him, why don't you cry? Wasn't this your precious son? He goes, I did the crying and the wailing, the ripping out of my hairs. I've done that shit. He would have said, I got the t-shirt and the mug, but the t-shirt and mug wasn't running in them days. Wash your face like David, darling dears. And then get yourself a post-it note and write Proverbs 31:10 and stick it to every mirror in your house. You need to know that you are more precious than diamonds and gold. Why do you think they, them, and see you as irreplaceable? You are an empath, a HEYOKA super empath. You are the type of person that feels other people's feelings. They loved it when they was emotionally dumping on you, using you like what? A tampon string, darling dears. Yes, to be floating about in their life as they what? Held on to your psychological password, darling dears. That's right up there. Your psychological password, your prefrontal cortex, right? Your hippocampus and your amygdala. Your amygdala is your survival, darling dears. Your fight, flight, or freeze mode. While they hold on to these four things, or held. So you must get angry, darling dears. And how do I say get angry? Get great. Go for your birth natal chart. I told you, it will show you how to make money once you understand what your passion is, because your passion will never be work. This is my passion. To point you to the way to your healing and your greatness, how to create the generational wealth. And I told you, and I've been telling you for months, that there is going to be a shift in generational wealth. I believe that will be on the 20th of April 2024. You have so much going for you, darling dears. You don't even understand how you're going to be blessed. You're being blessed in your sleep. Every way you go, you are blessed coming and going. You hear the seagulls in the background. They barely come out in the daytime. I do live near cliffs, but not near the edge of the ocean. I'm about 50 miles away from the ocean. Bestie, this is where you get great. You sock it to them, Scotty. Not because you have anything for them to prove to them. It's because they underestimated you. And in turn, you was underestimating yourself when you was in that bad company. Your name will forever be banded around mud huts at tables you no longer sit at. Matter of fact, you're getting your Mariah Carey on. I don't know that person, them people, and I wasn't there. Matter of fact, who are you? Ha ha! Listen, we are going for the selective memory, yeah? Didn't they? Didn't they? Let's press on to Hot Trot, darling dears, because you know I can be such a chatty cat, because who go and check me, boo? Let's see, have a quick see who's here. I see Shelly, Big Cat, Wave, Sammy G, Wagwan, Maji, Fist Bump, Alexis Holmes, Wagwan. Who's that? Lala Sunshine, love it. I don't hate it. Who else is here? Oracle 7100. I see you all, darling. There's Donny Renee, you sneaky cat, slipping in there at the back, but not the back end. Never the back end. This is Chinese numerology, a low shoe grid. I'm just going to get the energy, see where the big cat turns out on the grid today. Good golly and gosh, you're on a 9. And regular numerology tells you number 9 is about fruition. But you also have the what? The energy of a 7. We'll break that down in a moment, darling. Yes, I told you when you come here, whether you like it or not, I'm going to teach you something every time you come in, darling dears. And it's for you to what? Be curious enough to go and seek and find yourself. I will show you how to fish, not just give you the fish. Right. It's in the direction of south. And it's also fire energy. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. It could be your antagonist, your protagonist, darling dears. Could be you, sun, moon, or rising. Well, according to the energy of the low shoe grid, this speaks about your reputation. Where's my shiznai? Drop down and get your eagle on. This is about your reputation, darling dears. You are famous in their yard, blood. That mud hut. At what? 911 Freddy Krueger Avenue. 2 streets over from the loser lane. In the district of the damned. I don't care if they live in a mansion. It's a mud hut. Isn't PDD living in many mansions? And it's a mud hut? Okay then. Alright. People keep saying to me, why do you keep saying mud hut? They're living good. It's a mud hut. From the big cat, take back their energy because of what they did. And they're not sorry, darling dears. Only sorry that they don't have your energy to drain and feed off of your compassion. You made them fortunate by your presence, darling dears. They got that job. They had what? A willing listening ear. You was being sucked dry, darling dears. You in turn, by being around this people or person, right? You was gifting them. You was handing over willingly all of your blessings. If that don't make you what? Dry your goddamn eyes. And I don't mean to say, well, I did. And I'm not sorry. Right. Let's press on, darling dears. I'm not here well, I do kind of tell you off. I do. Why? Because I'm your bestie, darling dears. Who gonna tell you the truth? Ruth. Pinky's up. Your reputation, darling dears, is well known. I told you, many a mud hut it's being bandied around in, darling dears. The positive energy of the 9 is about you what? Continue to acknowledge every one of your achievements. Even if you are at the point in the DNS, what's that? The dark night of the soul, where you can just barely get out of your bed. Acknowledge that, darling dears. Because there is tens of thousands of people that did not wake up this morning. Look at Steve Jobs. He had billions. Pastor Skrilla, darling dears, that was billions. That's a lot of money, yeah? Yet he could not cure himself. And he said in his last days, he would give up everything for his health, darling. There's one more day. And according to the Loshu grid, the negative side, darling, is that you have to be cautious not to be materialistically focused only, darling dears, because you forget about your spiritual side. You have to understand, when you are blessed and highly favored, darling dears, when you understand yourself, everything is taken care of. A bill may come up and you think, you know what? It's done. 'Tis done. And the Skrillers appear from nowhere, darling dears. Why? Because you are chosen. Why? Because you volunteered to put up with this shaggery, darling dears. They was always in your life like a cheap lace thong, but as your back turned, darling dears, they was what? Giving it to you in the back chakra, darling dears, cut into the white meat. You are blessed by God, but the underestimation motivated you, darling. Motivated you. Stay motivated, darling dears. It's the sunny side of the street, the southwardly direction. You may live in the south, or they live in the south. The energy of the 7, darling dears. Your life path number could be a 7. This could be a significant day, date, or number in your life, darling dears. The 7, the 16, or the 25. The letters G, P, and Y. I like to think it's short for gypsy. Now you won't forget what the letters that are associated with the number 7. Okay, right. GPY. It speaks about you being highly intuitive, and at this moment in time, darling dears, you are in genius mode. This is what the 7 represents. Your psychic abilities, your intuition is about to be buffed up, or it's been buffing up, darling dears. You know things. When you go out into public now, darling dears, you're going to notice a lot of people are staring at you. People are going to be looking for a little bit of conversation. Why? Because they feel and see your light, darling dears. They read you on a soul level. That's why you are so irreplaceable in their life. They thought you was 2 a penny. More fool them. Let them cry into their fist. Luke 22:62. Cry they must. Cry you a river. Come through. Justin T. Posh. Clap. The number 7 is also associated with the planet Neptune. Neptune rules Pisces, right? Neptune is the planet of disillusionment. It's about your dreams. It's highly spiritual, okay? It's also the planet of what? Addictions. They're addicted to your light, darling dears. This is why they're mad. Neptune rules Pisces, the 12th house. The 12th house of what? Your subconscious, darling dears. It's a highly spiritual house. I heard the word fraud. Some of you are spiritual, darling dears. You may even be a reader. This is what they're putting out, but yet you have what supporters of what you got going on. Why? Because you told the truth, Roof. Pinkies up. The energy of Pisces also represents confinement, darling. There's the 12th house. They are going through three things, darling dears: hospital, prison, and the graveyard. And it also is a reminder that you still have enemies, darling dears, that are not revealing themselves. These are what? Those cowards that hide behind the keyboard, stalking your social media, giving your businesses bad reviews, darling dears. Putting those anonymous emails to your employer, telling them all sorts. Well, guess what? The 12th house is also representative of your old age, darling dears. Your blessings will last into your old age and be carried through to your what? Progeny for generations to come. I told you, get on board. The shift of generational wealth is here. And you're thinking, well, what am I supposed to do? Listen, I've been telling you. Where's my shit, Nai? Let me show you. Where I put it? You need to get into the cryptocurrencies, darling dears. This is my Nano X, my cold wallet that I store all my cryptos on. Okay? I already told you it's AI utilities, even air. Go and read the white papers. You've got time. You've got time, darling dears. Even if you have only what? 50 skrillers or 100 skrillers to invest. Remember, generational wealth being transferred is going to be in the trillions. Why would they be trying to stop this eclipse, firing rockets into it? Well, you wouldn't remember this, but what was happening 400 years ago when this alignment was around? The beginning of slavery. Well, so as it began, so shall it end, darling dears. Haven't we seen the one? I've told you this already. I did in the Mercury retrograde video for it was in Sagittarius and it went into Capricorn. I told you the 1%. And what's happening with the royal family. I told you all of these things, darling dears. Go back and watch that reading for Mercury retrograde in Capricorn and Sagittarius. It's all unfolding now. And you think we ain't seen nothing. Listen, 2024 has been 2024 in. The amount of intel. Why? Because it's the age of Aquarius. Everything has to be revealed. What I think, that country that they don't like, that's got the red flag with the yellow on it, they're about to invest, darling dears. Okay? Look and see where they're going to invest because they have to reveal it. You can do it, bestie. I had to learn this by myself, but I'm a keyboard gangster. I'm curious by nature. Take this time, darling dears. You're my bestie. I wouldn't offer this information to an enemy. And even if an enemy is watching, it's not going to work for them. Why? They're coming through with the wrong intentions, darling dears. They come through to create havoc. H is for the harlot, the Jezebel spirit in them. The A is for the advocate of the gingivitis. They're lying out of their lying liar hole. The V is because they're a victim. They're shape-shifting and mean, darling dears. They're trying to turn circumstances and situations to make it look like you are the bad guy. The O is because they're bloody obnoxious, right? And the C is because they're trying to get the echopraxic on, the copycat of it all, but they can't copy your gangster. Why? Because you're chosen. You are unique. So they must miss you for air. Find out how to do these things, darling dears. We've got 53 in the chat, darling dears. That's the energy of the 8. 8 represents what? Skrilla.com. Was I not just talking about the Skrilla.com, darling dears? Everything is a sign. Pay attention, darling dears. We've also got 23 likes. That's a 5. 5 is the energy of what? Conflict, confusion, but true change. The 5 and the 8 goes together and it comes out as what? 13. 13 is the death card in tarot for what? Transformation and change. The death card, Scorpio energy, the 8th house is about the assets that you are about to acquire for yourself, darling dears. The 8th house is also the karmic debt that has been released because you put up with what you put up with, but you was able to what? Take yourself out like Mission Impossible. Many people stay in those circumstances because they're afraid to be alone. Blood. Even if you're a twin, you come into the world by yourself. You can't both come through the same place at the same time. As I was saying, the energy of the seven, darling dears. In astrology, it's represented by a semi-sextile. So it's healing plus transformation, which is at your door, knocking at your door. Divine wants you to what? When these, because the memory is going to be coming up, darling dears. We're going through Mercury retrograde in Aries at this moment in time. And it's about the self. It's about your public appearance, but it's also about your self-awareness, your outward behavior. That is what they're attacking, darling dears. Let them continue to attack, because every time they attack you, you get one of your blessings back. So they must continue. And remember, the Mercury retrograde in Aries, first house, it rules accidents. So be careful with your comings and goings. If you have a chariot of righteousness or any form of ground transportation, darling dears, black obsidian crystal on your person or in the vehicle. Protect yourself, darling dears. You came in here, we all came here with no memory of who we were. We had to learn it through the what? Lessons. Some people say it's mistakes. Well, if it's a mistake, you live there, darling dears, amongst that mistake. It's a lesson. And once you've learned the lesson, you don't go back. I told you, you have genius mode on you, darling dears, at this moment in time. Let's get the card out to remind us of this lovely, fabulous, gorgeous, and lovely energy that's being bandied around, the energy of Neptune, your psychic energies. And it's on the what? Sacrifice and a 10, darling dears. The 10 is the number of what? Completion, because you are about to be renewed, reborn, repurposed. You are going to be the bionic cat come the 8th of April. And then you are going to be what? The funded cat come the 20th of April. Don't be the one to cry too late, darling dears, because I've been telling you. I've been telling you. I've done everything but come through the camera, darling dears, and I can't do that. But once I figure it out, I'm going to turn up on your blood clot. Yeah, I'll be like, oi, bestie, what are you doing? You'll be so scared. Yeah. I will materialize in your house and say, I don't like this, mate. You better hold the whip, because he or she who holds the whip runs things. The 12th house is juxtaposed to the 6th house, darling dears. The 6th house is about the well-being, your health, darling dears. They're having health issues. I just heard body dysmorphia. That's their business, blood. And blue milk? And what blue milk? The people that vomit up. What's that? Is it blue milk? Blue milk, black. Listen, Mercury retrograde, every Mercury retrograde, it turns me into a lisping, stuttering cat. I will always be a cat. Shut up. Stop it, bestie. Stop it. Yeah. So we're going to press on, darling dears. Let's get the energy around this. We're going to use the Witch's Oracle Wisdom. If I can find it. If I can't find it, it's because it's hiding from me. And that's not the deck. Found it. Base of the deck, darling dears. Concealment. Everything they're doing, darling dears, what they're doing in the dark is about to be revealed. Because I tell it all. You get the usher here. Are you coming out or not? No, it's not. Yes, it is. Okay. They're going through the dark night of the soul, darling dears. Yes, feeling lonely and isolated. This bestie is the watchtower of the north. They may even live in the north. Well, guess what? If they're living in the north remembers. And winter has come. Yes. We get Game of Thrones up in this bitch. Posh. Clap. They're going through it, darling dears. Feeling lonely, isolated. This also speaks about the tears they're crying. Listen, there's no water amongst the tears. It's just little rocks of salt. Yeah? There's Salt Bay, darling dears. Yeah. Especially if they're trying to look back to see if they can fit you back in to their what? Crisis mode. These double-minded people, James 1:8. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. What did I say? You are chosen. You are the one, darling dears. You was chosen by your 64 ancestors to break generational curses. You yourself had to go into isolation, whether you was pushed between your shoulder blades or you went there willingly. But that isolation, what? It opened your third eye to the infinite possibilities of you. You understood the assignment when you found out that Father God hid inside each and every one of us. The only way out is to go within. All answers come from within. You are blessed and highly favored, darling dears. And you are deeply, deeply, deeply loved and protected by your ancestral team. Call them at any time, darling dears, because they cannot help you unless you ask. But they're not going to come and help you for some foolishness. And stop. If you're still looking on their social media, good. I hope it offends your eye chakras. I told you, it's a pantomime. Stop it. And if you're waiting for their come up, and stop that, as you're still giving them flipping energy. No energy. Pay them dust. Dust, darling dears. And stop asking yourself, why me? Why this happened to me? Baby, oi, bestie, do you have a volunteer? Do you have a volunteer to go through crises on your behalf? Because if you do, we're best friends and we sharesies. Send them right here, blood, because I need their help. You got a volunteer to go through your crises when you're chosen. Baby, Big Cat knows what's going on. I'm sweating now. I hope you're happy with yourselves, bestie. You've made me sweat. Made me sweat. Made me holler. Yeah, almost made me lose my breath, darling dears. You don't have no volunteer to work on your behalf, darling dears. You had to go through it. But it's the learning of the lesson. We've got to go through the L's, darling dears. The learning of the lesson to get to the W, the win. And win you shall. Candle magic. Somebody's burning a candle on your behalf, darling dears, while they're in the DNS. Listen, when you're low vibing and you're wishing all this ugliness on someone else, crying, bitter, twisted, and the above, your auric field is open for what? To have demonic attachments, darling dears, dark chaos spirits. I told you the Neptune energy is about addictions. They're deep in their addictions. Pill popping, smoking it up like Bob Marley, drinking up the alcohols. Yeah. But all of that hate, bitter, and spite they're directing at you. But they don't realize that every time they direct it at you, you're being blessed. You're looking like what? You're looking like Benjamin or Benjamina Buttons, darling dears. You started to age backwards. You're happy. You found peace. And you realize the best company you will ever be in is your own. You've learned to take care of thyself. Guard your energies like Smeagol. You're precious. Never you forget to call your ancestors your security team. Let's dive in. Now let's get a card. Should we go for the yellow cards for these cowards? Okay, this one wanted to come up. You don't talk to these people. And I lifted it up, look. A third party is devastated, darling dears. They thought, hey, listen, if that was a partner that did you dirty. Yeah, they did you dirty, man. We need a country and western song for that. Yeah. I just heard all my children are ugly because they look just like you. Yeah. Listen. I'm going to start giving you the messages the way they pop into my head. If your children are ugly, it's because of that partner, darling dears. Yeah. And the third party is devastated, right? Look! Oh, it's all coming out now. They're using them, darling dears. Just imagine. And they're mad. Hockey sticks at dawn. What's this? An STD. Good God. Is kicking in their pantaloon like Jackie Chan, darling dears. Well, the STD is giving them something to do. Yeah, go to the clinic. Hey, they possibly got a what? They've got a yearly pass. They can turn up anytime they like. Let's give it a split. That was never love they showed you, darling dears. It was never love. They needed you. You wanted to be around them. There's a big difference. But you don't want to be around them anymore. Not for all the tea in China. Not for all the tea in China. Just thinking about it, my edges, blood, my hairline. Start itching me as I sip my mocha because we ain't getting smoked. The energy of the 7 is highly spiritual, but it also speaks about the protection that is on you. You are a natural mystic. One of the Claires, are you? Okay. You are a deep thinker, darling dears. People used to say, oh, you are overthinker. No, if you're an overthinker like I am, listen, I thought of every possible route. It's when we start thinking about things, darling dears, we're like Doctor Strange. We see 1,000,000 different things, and then we get to the right answer. Why? Because we thought of every other way it could have happened, blood. But you don't use that energy to worry about them. You're thinking about how you can get great. Because every move you take, your next move is your best move. Let's get a deck. One for the feeble-minded and one for you. We'll get a big deck for them. And we'll get the... Where's the other one? I haven't used it in a while. We'll get this one. Rider-Waite deck for you. Base of the narcissist, darling dears. Narcs. Decepticons. This is people that abused their privileges when they was around you, darling dears. If you are co-parenting with this person, they're an absentee parent. Why? Because they're with a third party, darling dears. What they chose over you wasn't fabulous, darling dears. But they don't realize when you came into their life, darling dears, they had been praying and begging the Most High for someone like you to come along. They prayed. And then they drained you of your energy. When they started dating someone else, because they're always a cheater, these narcs, darling dears, whether they are male or female. When they started dating that person, right, the person they was dating was you, because it was the energy, your light, your gifts, your humor that you poured into them that they took to someone else. Well, guess what? Sucks to be them right now, bestie. Sucks to be them. We're going to have a conversation between you and them. What's on the base of your deck? Listen, you got your third eye on bitches and mitches. Your cup of love, you've put the fucking lid on that cup, blood. Listen, bravo, bestie. Bravo. I love it. A round of applause. Did you seal the lid with Loctite? Don't seal it, darling dears. That's what they want your heart to be. What? Black-hearted and mean. No.